What's going on, family? Welcome back to another video. I understand with everything going on in the world, it's gonna be tough to stick to your fitness goals, but if you guys do all the right things, you guys can at least maintain the muscle mass you have or even make more progress at home with very minimal or no equipment at all, depending on your training level. So with this said, I think it's a very bad time to stop doing anything altogether, because that is a for sure way to lose progress and ensure muscle atrophy. So there's a couple of things I wanted to go over regarding this, because there's going to be some pros and cons to the home workouts. And before I get into that, I am going to explain 6 special movement patterns you guys are going to have to do when you're doing home workouts. I understand everyone has different equipment available, and I see a lot of workouts there that have no equipment at all, some equipment, and I feel like if I show you these movement patterns, you guys can create the best workout routine for what you personally have available. But before we get started, let's get into some of the pros and cons of what's going on right now. The first thing I wanted to go over is muscle loss. And I know this is everyone's scare when you're gonna have to do home workouts as all the gyms are closed. But if you do provide your body with some stimulus, you're gonna be able to actually maintain all of your muscle or maintain the majority of it. With that said though, if you don't do anything, you are gonna be at risk at losing all your muscle. And after the first week or two, it won't be too significant, but after that, I highly recommend that you do continue to do something and provide your body some stimulus to ensure that you can maintain as much as possible. The worst thing is gonna be is if you don't do anything at all, it's a couple months down the line, you start at the gym, you're gonna regret not doing anything at all. So the second thing I wanted to go over is if you do lose some muscle mass, and you don't have to worry too much because of muscle memory, you are gonna gain that back very quickly. And because of home workouts, that leads me into the next thing is your strength. You are gonna lose strength no matter what, because you are gonna need heavier loads to stimulate your central nervous system. But as you get back into the heavier loads into the gym, you're gonna gain that quickly. But if you're looking at things in a bodybuilding perspective, we can be confident that all of your muscle, or most of the muscle, will be maintained, and if not, we can get it back really fast. And the last thing I wanted to bring up before we get into the 6 needed movement patterns you guys need to do is that the difference between maintaining muscle versus building new muscle is going to be a widespread with volume. So you don't need to do much volume to maintain versus if you're trying to build new muscle. So if you are a beginner or an intermediate, it's going to be a lot easier to maintain. If you're in the advanced category, it's going to be a lot harder, where I do recommend getting some resistance to ensure that you can give your body that volume needed to maintain muscle. So let's go over the 6 most important movement patterns you guys need to do no matter what equipment you have at home. And if you do have equipment, this is going to be a lot better, and I highly recommend the 3 cheapest things you guys can get is actually resistance bands. I think these are going to be the best because there's a lot more you can do than if you were to get dumbbells, which is the next thing. And then the last thing I do recommend if you have money is something like a TRX, something of that sort. And then of course, what's for free is your own body weight or household items that you have, like water jugs, suitcases, that type of thing. Of course, that's going to be limited over time since you're going to be limited to progressive overload. So let's go over the 6 main movement patterns when you're looking at hitting your full body. And the first movement pattern is going to be vertical push. And by performing a vertical push, you're going to be able to hit your shoulders, your upper chest, and depending on what type of vertical push, you can also get some side and rear delt activation. The next movement pattern you're going to want to follow is a horizontal push. So this is going to be activating your chest, your triceps, and a little bit of your shoulder. The next thing you want to focus on is a vertical pulling movement. When you're performing a vertical pull, you're going to be activating most of your back, a little bit of your biceps, and then this leads me into the next one. You guys probably guessed it, is a horizontal pull. This is going to get more into your mid back, your mid traps, and also activate your biceps as well. And I think Luna is also really interested in trying to make some gains, right, puppy? Moving on to the next part of your body, you're going to want to try and perform a squat movement. So by performing a squat movement, you're going to be working your posterior chain, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, and then moving on to the last movement is a hip hinge. And in the squat motion, you're gonna be able to hit your quads with knee extension. So if you're doing any type of squat, you're gonna see your knee flex and extend. But in a hip hinge, you'll better focus on your hamstrings and more at the hip where you have a lot bigger and stronger muscles. So if you're able to cover all of these, vertical push, horizontal push, vertical pull, horizontal pull, squat, and hip hinge, you will be able to hit your entire body. So if you have equipment, it's gonna make this a lot easier, and I'll go through the different things that you can do here. And because it's harder to get heavier dumbbells, I feel like doing push-ups, but with a band is gonna be a lot harder. So what you guys can do if the band is not that strong, you just hold it really tight, go behind your back like this, and you guys can do push-ups like this as well. It's gonna be a lot harder than a regular push-up, or with the dumbbells. Ooh. And you're gonna give yourself a lot more of a stimulus if especially you can tighten up that band across your back and hold it nice and tight. So the next thing is gonna be a vertical push, and this one I like to recommend with dumbbells. So you're gonna be able to hit your more overall shoulder. So if you do a standing shoulder press, Arnold variation, you're gonna be able to hit your sides and rear delts a lot better. And then if you want to do that with the band, if you only hit a band, you can step on the band on one end and press up like this here. The next thing you want to do is a row. And the same thing applies here with dumbbells. If you have light dumbbells, it's going to be hard to do a horizontal pull. So if you stand on it really tight, nice and low, you'll be able to pull and get a lot more tension that way if you only had a 10 or 20 pound dumbbell. Next thing is a vertical pull. Now if you had a chin-up bar or a pull-up bar, that's going to be the best case scenario. But like, let's say you put this in a doorway, you can go down on your knee, and you can pull it down on an angle, you can pull it more straight down, or you can pull it down like a lat pull-in. Then moving on to the squat is, obviously you're gonna be able to use dumbbells. If it's gonna be too light, you guys can do single legged, where you can do split squats like this. Put your leg up, keep all the tension on your leg here like this. And then if you have the band, you can make it even harder, where you can step on the band, down, back up, or you can use dumbbells as well. So there's so many different variations, so many different things here. And the last thing is going to be a hip hinge. So my favorite is the one leg Romanian deadlift. So using a band as well, you can step on it here, nice and low. You can usually use something to stabilize yourself with. Come nice down low, come straight back up. So I feel like you guys get the idea. Having these very affordable, cheap pieces of equipment is gonna help so much more than just doing body weight, because you're gonna be able to add a lot more resistance. So there's so many other little things like you could do is tie the band around your legs, do extensions, do curls, and same thing with your arms. Do curls and extensions for your triceps, lateral raises, that type of thing. So what I actually recommend is spend that extra couple dollars. It's gonna take you a lot further in your fitness journey than if you were just to do body weight. It'll allow you to more progressive overload and be able to actually maybe make some progress depending on what level you're at. So last couple things here is make sure you're hitting an intensity where you are exerting yourself going closer to failure, especially with the higher reps, because you're not going to get as much tension. Do a lot more sets, and then get creative. You know, if you feel like the bigger movements like the squat is going to be a lot easier for you, then maybe pre-fatigue, doing extensions and curls with the band, or do a lot of body weight stuff before that, and then jump into the harder movements. So there's so many different little things that you can do. You can get creative, but I feel like the overall basis is if you follow these main programming tips, you're gonna get the best bang for buck. So if you guys like this video, please let me know. I'm personally prepping right now, and I'm not gonna stop. I'm trying to improve my body composition, and I feel like I'm gonna be able to give you guys some good diet tips in the next one. So if you guys like this video, please subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think, and like the video if you guys want to support. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and yeah, thanks for watching.